Art of Fighting, SNK's second ever released fighting game, changed the genre forever. Known in Japan as Ryuko no Ken, this title introduced unique mechanics and larger-than-life characters. But another great aspect of the series is the story, which shocked players at the time by revealing that it takes place in the same universe as SNK's first fighting game, Fatal Fury. In this video series, we're going to explore the gripping narrative and lore of Art of Fighting. The story of Art of Fighting begins years into the past, as the story of the series spans from the early life of a legendary martial artist known as Takuma Sakazaki. The young fighter's proficiency in karate quickly made him a legend. Over the years, he challenged and fought numerous martial arts masters, steadily building his reputation. Yet mastering karate alone was not enough for Takuma. He felt the art could be perfected. This belief eventually led him to create his own fighting style, Kyokugen Ryu Karate, which translates to the ultimate karate. This style used traditional karate as its foundation, but combined it with advanced ki manipulation, a form of intense concentration that allowed the user to transform their inner ki, their inner energy, into external energy waves. Kyokugen Ryu Karate quickly gained fame, and many who sought power wanted either to learn the style or to control someone who had mastered it. Throughout his career, Takuma developed several rivals. One of them was Ryuhaku Todoh, who viewed Takuma as a threat to his own Ryuhaku Aikido style, taught in Japan. Young and brash, Takuma challenged Ryuhaku and defeated him in front of his students, humiliating him and ultimately forcing Todoh to close his dojo and leave for the American city of Southtown. During his younger days, Takuma became rival with another legendary martial artist known as Lee Gakso. The two once fought in a match that ended in a draw, as neither could claim a decisive victory. In recognition of each other's strength, Gakso became known as the Ultimate Tiger, while Takuma earned the title of the Invincible Dragon. Takuma would later meet, fall in love with, and marry an American woman named Lonette. The couple moved to the outskirts of Southtown, USA, where they raised their two children, Ryo and Yuri. Takuma opened a Kyokugen Karate dojo and trained Ryo from a young age, grooming him as his successor. He also strictly refused to train Yuri, believing she was too young, and that fighting was not for girls. Takuma would later accept Robert Garcia, the son of an acquaintance, into the dojo after recognizing his sincerity and dedication. Robert, son of Alberto Garcia, an heir to the Garcia family, was promised the family fortune and an easy life by his wealthy parents. But Robert refused and fled their lavish house in order to find his own way. He would then head to Takuma's dojo, where the latter took him in. Robert and Ryo quickly became close friends and brothers, but Robert would later leave the Sakazakis and return to his family home. Calling Takuma's teaching, especially towards Ryo, a harsh regimen, is an understatement. The Kyokugen Ryu master, though a gentle father, did not shy away from pushing his son to his limits, something Lonette never approved of. For a time, life remained relatively peaceful for the Sakazaki family. However, the growing legend of Kyokugen Ryu Karate eventually reached the ears of the Southtown underworld. Takuma was offered a position in the Southtown mob, but strictly refused, as the Kyokugen Ryu master always valued righteousness and believed the mob could not hurt him. But tragedy struck when Ryo was 10 years old. Lonette died in a suspicious car accident. While the authorities believed Lonette's death was a genuine accident, Takuma knew it was not. He knew it was a message to him, a consequence for refusing the mob's offer. Guilt ate at Takuma's soul, plunging him into depression. He questioned himself. Would Lonette be alive if he accepted the offer? Was he wrong in choosing the right path? Did his righteousness doom the lives of his children? One night, without warning, the once legendary Kyokugen Ryu master disappeared into the shadows, leaving his young children alone. Though young, Ryo Sakazaki realized that he had to fend for himself and his young sister. The young martial artist started working hard, and life was very difficult. Working multiple tough jobs during the day, Ryo also participated in street fights for money. Though he was strong, he was often beaten to within an inch of his life, something Yuri refused, as she felt like a burden responsible for her brother's hardships. Years would go by, and Ryo is now a 17-year-old. His world never got any easier, nor did the city of Southtown. The town, once ravaged by mob wars, was sunk into deeper corruption and violence under its mysterious kingpin. Those who opposed the mob would mysteriously disappear or brutally get murdered. The syndicate that controls Southtown employs violence, corruption, and some even suspect myths, as an unverified rumors swirl about a shadowy, powerful enforcer known as Mr. Karate, who is often compared to a mythical demon. As for Robert, he spent the last 7 years studying and learning about his father's business while also training himself and practicing what he had learned from Takuma all those years ago. But it was time for him to visit his friend and rival Ryo, and so he set out for America. But when he arrived at the dojo, he saw something he did not expect. In an alley not too far away, Ryo is participating in a street fight. He has now become quite the powerful fighter, and one who has made his name known throughout town, even attracting the interest of the mob. But the fight was short-lived, as Ryo's battle was interrupted when Robert arrived, informing Ryo of a terrible matter. When Robert arrived, he saw Yuri being dragged into a car, and it fled the scenes before he could react. The only clue was that the car had a Southtown plate. Furious at the news, there was no time for the friends to properly reunite. The two Kyokugen fighters set out on a journey to the corrupt city of Southtown. But who would want to hurt Yuri, who in Southtown had a grudge against the Sakazakis? Ryo immediately thought of Ryuhaku Todoh, his father's rival and a man whom Ryo always felt was jealous of Takuma. When Todoh was humiliated years ago by Takuma in Japan, the Aikido master fled to Southtown, where he opened his own dojo. In a heartbeat, Ryo and Robert head to Todoh's dojo, located by the famous restaurant Karuta, and barged in. Ryuhaku, both surprised and enraged by seeing the son of his rival entering the dojo uninvited and asking for his sister, decides to teach the insolent Sakazaki a lesson instead of answering his question. Ryo, heir of the Kyokugen Ryu, takes on Todoh, the man who always felt insulted and disrespected by Takuma and his Kyokugen style. After a fierce fight, Ryo emerges victorious. Ryuhaku, defeated, reveals to Ryo and Robert that he has no idea where Yuri is and that he was never involved in her kidnapping. However, the beaten Aikido master reveals that such plot would definitely involve the street gang known as the Neo Black Cat, and that they should find their leader, Jack. The members of this biker gang, which terrorizes the city and is apparently part of a larger criminal organization, hang out at their usual spot, Mac's Bar. Ryo and Robert at once head to the famed location. Upon arriving, Ryo and Robert are greeted by the towering leader of the Neo Black Cats, Jack Turner. Surprised to see the duo, Jack asks the two fighters to leave, but Ryo insists on getting the information he came for, and a clash takes place. While Ryo and Robert are both experts when it comes to the Kyokugen Ryo karate style and its deadly techniques, Jack proves to be a difficult challenge. Nevertheless, Ryo and Robert emerge victorious. Jack then claims that he has no idea about Yuri's whereabouts and that his gang does not harm children or women, a claim that would later be proven false. Jack adds that they might find Yuri in Chinatown. Believing what the Neo Black Cats leader has said, both Ryo and Robert head to Chinatown. As the two heroes explore the colorful, dangerous neighborhood, they are suddenly attacked by a mysterious masked assailant. For no particular reason, the masked warrior, known as Lee, does not explain his motives before taking on the two fighters. After a brutal fight, Lee retreats after revealing that they should check the famed L'Amour restaurant and talk to the bouncer. The masked warrior disappeared into the night without revealing his shocking identity. Lee Pailong is the student of the famed Lee Gakso, Takuma's old rival and friend. Lee Pailong also happens to be the warden of the Southtown Penitentiary and one who dons the masked vigilante persona, but that is a story for another time. The duo arrive at the L'Amour restaurant, where they are greeted by the bouncer, a young man known as King. Ryo asks King about Yuri, and instead of answering the young man's question, King goes on the offensive and attacks Ryo. King, a master of Muay Thai, proves to be quite the challenge. But when Ryo attempts to finish King, his powerful ki attack shreds parts of King's suit, revealing that King is not a man, but a woman. Surprised by the reveal, King goes to tell the duo that Yuri is being held at the military base in Southtown and that only the ex-boxer known as Mickey can get them in. The two leave the scene, leaving a defeated and repentant King in the restaurant. Unlike most of the fighters Ryo and Robert fought so far, King is not evil. She had taken on the job not for herself, but for her sick brother, Jean. Jean needed an expensive surgery to survive, and the Southtown crime syndicate promised the money to King in exchange for her strength, a decision that is now haunting the young fighter. But something snapped in her when she fought Ryo, something that made her realize she was wrong, and this is why she decided to betray the mob and reveal Yuri's true location. Mickey Rogers is an American of Jamaican descent who was once known as a professional boxer, but one that was removed from the ranks because he accidentally killed a man during a boxing match. Having no other choice, Mickey decided to join the Southtown mob to provide for himself. As Ryo and Robert arrive in downtown Southtown, they stumble upon Mickey, who thinks the two are undercover cops. After a short fight, Mickey is defeated, and he agrees to take the two to the military base. This is where Ryo and Robert are surprised to meet their next challenger, a military man known as John Crawley. Seeing the military involved in Yuri's kidnapping certainly surprised the young fighters, but John's involvement has nothing to do with the military itself. John is taking on Ryo and Robert as part of his loyalty to the Southtown crime syndicate apparent boss, the mysterious man known as Mr. Big. Years ago, John and another soldier named James fought in a brutal war, John was wounded, and their commander decided to leave him behind. Something that James did not agree with. Going against his commander's orders, James ventured into enemy territory and saved John from certain death. Years later, James quit the military and its idealistic ways and traveled to Southtown. Understanding that following orders led nowhere, he built his own criminal mob known as the Syndicate and changed his name to Mr. Big. Using violent methods, Mr. Big became the kingpin of Southtown, and John, feeling he owed a debt to Mr. Big for saving his life, started helping the mob leader by supplying him with weaponry and supporting him in any way he could. Years later, Mr. Big has apparently been overthrown by an unknown new kingpin, one who has been pulling the strings from the shadows, but for now, that is nothing but a rumor. John took on Ryo and Robert but was no match for the Kyokugen karate fighters. Upon his defeat, he revealed to the heroes that his boss was waiting for them at the Southtown factory. Entering the factory, Ryo and Robert were ready to take on the man responsible for kidnapping Yuri. They felt they had finally come close to saving the kidnapped young girl. Greeted by Mr. Big, Ryo and Robert were ready to fight. Big offered the two a place in his army, but obviously the two were uninterested. Ryo took on the notorious Mr. Big. The Syndicate boss was fierce, fast, and powerful. But with Ryo's dedication and his focus on saving his young sister, he emerged victorious. However, Yuri was nowhere to be seen. Mr. Big revealed that he no longer had Yuri. Furious, Ryo and Robert pushed for more information from Big, who revealed that their answers await at the old abandoned Kyokugen Karate Dojo on the outskirts of Southtown, the same dojo where the two warriors grew up, practicing and learning the martial art under Takuma Sakazaki. Big collapsed before revealing anything more. Ryo and Robert are stumped. What could possibly await them at the old abandoned dojo? Is Yuri being held there? They know that the only way to get answers is to head to the dojo. As the two enter the abandoned place, reminiscing about the old days, memories converge with anger and worry over Yuri's disappearance. Inside the dojo, a mysterious masked warrior stands tall, wearing a red Tengu mask. It is none other than the famed and elusive warrior known as Mr. Karate. Rumors in Southtown have long spoken of a demonic warrior with incredible power who takes on anyone who defies the mob. From his fighting stance, the two realize that this fighter is another practitioner of their martial art, Kyokugen Ryo Karate. But how is that possible? And how is this related to Yuri's disappearance? Ryo decides to take on Mr. Karate, and an incredible fight takes place. The masked assailant not only matches Ryo, but clearly appears more powerful. The fight seems almost one-sided, but when Ryo was about to lose, thoughts of his kidnapped sister, his harsh life, and the responsibilities he had to shoulder following his father's disappearance all came rushing back, unleashing a powerful inner surge of ki energy. In an instant, Ryo unleashed his most powerful attack, the Ryuko Rambo. Mr. Karate has been defeated. The fighter on his knees accepts defeat, but Ryo is not finished. Standing in anger, he puts his hands together and gets ready to unleash another powerful attack, the Hao Shokoken. But before he can launch his deadly wave energy attack, someone rushes between Ryo and Mr. Karate. A familiar voice, a familiar face. "Don't do it, brother," she said. "It's Yuri. She's alive and well, and for some reason she is protecting Mr. Karate." Both relieved and confused, Ryo and Robert do not have time to ask questions before Yuri reveals a shocking truth about Mr. Karate. He is none other than their father. Shocked, and confused, Ryo and Robert look at Mr. Karate as he removes his Tengu mask, revealing his true identity, Takuma Sakazaki. Takuma, ashamed and saddened, reveals the hidden truth behind his disappearance. Years ago, after hearing of the strength and power of the Kyokugen Ryo Karate, the Southtown mob, led by its new kingpin, who's none other than the current police commissioner Giz Howard, requested that Takuma work as an enforcer, but the latter refused. Wanting to send a message to Takuma, the mob took the inhuman step of killing Lonette, Takuma's wife, and the mother of Ryo and Yuri. Guilt ate at Takuma's soul, plunging him into depression and fearing for the safety of his children. This is the reason why he took the difficult step of leaving his children behind and accepting Giz's offer. Because for him, this was the only certain way to protect Ryo and Yuri. Forced into submission and to preserve his honor, Takuma adopted a new identity and donned the Tengu mask, becoming Mr. Karate. The Tengu mask carries deep meaning in Japanese folklore and perfectly mirrors Takuma's personal journey. Tengu are mythical beings often associated with martial prowess, discipline, and pride, but also with exile. Traditionally, Tengu were once human warriors or monks who lost their way, becoming feared spirits as punishments for their pride. By wearing the Tengu mask, Takuma symbolically abandons his identity as a father and as a master of the art, embracing exile and shame in order to protect his children. Mr. Karate was not a symbol of glory but of penance. The mask allowed him to act as a weapon in the shadows, severed from family and honor, until he can atone for his past and reclaim his true self. Under this persona, Takuma became Giz Howard's most feared enforcer, an undefeated and merciless warrior who carried out the syndicate's will from the shadows. Realizing that Takuma is having second thoughts, Giz ordered the kidnapping of Yuri, in order to coerce Takuma into submission. But seeing the strength of his children and disciple, and witnessing Ryo's resolve, Takuma saved Yuri and took her to the dojo while abandoning his role as an enforcer. Ryo is angered but relieved that Yuri is safe. Though reunited, it is clear that the Sakazakis will need time to heal from this ordeal. The journey that Ryo and Robert took to save their sister and unwillingly save Takuma as well became a tale of courage, love, and discipline, and earned the two fighters legendary titles: the Invincible Dragon for Ryo and the Ultimate Tiger for Robert. Two titles once held by Takuma and his rival Lee Gakso. But now that the identity of Giz as the Kingpin has been revealed, what would be the next move for the crime lord of Southtown? We'll find out in the next episode of the Auto Fighting Lore series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Big shout out and thanks to the channel's patrons and premium subscribers. You can become one by checking the links in the description below. Until next time, thank you guys for watching.